Hello, Steve White, Steve House 89. Well, Psycho 4. This is the whole reason I started watching the Psycho films again. I watched Black Christmas and Olivia Hussey died, and I wanted to sort of do something to show respect for her passing, so I decided to watch the Psycho films because she was in Psycho 4. So I sat down and watched all four films last night. I had a Blu-ray box set I bought like 9 years ago that I had not watched. I haven't watched these films since I watched them on DVD years ago. I think I still had a TV at that time. So it was amazing to watch them, in high definition on, widescreen TV, which I haven't seen them before. Now, the first film is a classic. The second film is brilliant. The third film is just a slasher and has some elements I didn't like. They changed sort of some of the tone and that was established in the other films. And this film is very different. It was made for, I believe, HBO back in the day. It was filmed on film, thank God, so it's been transferred. I think it was screened somewhere. There's been for a while a widescreen cut and a full screen cut was done for TV, and we know they do a lot of films like that. So there are DVD versions of the widescreen, the full screen version, and the Blu-ray, and other DVDs have the widescreen one. So I watched the widescreen one, and it starts off with a woman doing a talk show about killers who kill their mothers, matricide, and the daddy of all matricidal murderers, if that's the way you say it, calls up because this is an old school sort of radio show. It was originally meant to be Oprah. They wanted Oprah to do a show, but she doesn't have call-ins like like Phil Donahue used to do. So they just made up Fran Ambrose with her own talk show, and I love this sort of style of show. I used to crave finding shows like this on like radio channels when I was a kid in my hometown. They didn't have it, and something that I love about YouTube, all the podcasts and videos people do now, I feel like I'm listening to those old school sort of radio shows now. I love it. But yeah, so he calls up the doctor, who just happened to be one of the doctors who was there when he was caught, who is, I guess, supposed to be the one who does that big long explanation at the end of Psycho 1. It's played by the guy who played Dr. Hayward in Twin Peaks, not the same actor. At first I thought it was. I'm like, wow, I didn't know he was in the original. He looked so different when he was young, a different actor. But he does announce he's going to kill someone else. And of course they try to talk him through it and try to talk him out of it. They have to kick the doctor out because he's being nothing but adversarial. And Fran works on Norman alone, and he reveals that he's going to kill his wife because his wife has gotten herself pregnant. Because he fell in love with a woman who was treating him. He got out of the institution. He's been living a normal, healthy life for years. And I guess they blamed him cracking before over the people who were trying to actually sabotage him and make him break. So he got a bit of a break for that. It looks like, and he's gotten out. He's living a normal life. He's living in a house in a different town. But he's decided to kill his wife because he believes that if he has a child, the child will turn out like him, and the evil that came from his mother, that he believes she was evil, will go onto the son, so he has to end it now. So he ends up hanging up on Fran, going to the Psycho house, the Bates mansion. His wife meets him there, and he goes back and forth between killing her and not killing her. And eventually he decides not to. They decide to burn the house. He decides to burn the house down, and then he gets trapped in the house, and trapped with the memories. And the interesting part about the whole thing is, of course, when he's talking to Fran, he tells his story. And we get to see him as a young boy, played by Henry Thomas from E.T. I hope that's how you say his name, Henry Thomas. He's quite good in the role. So we see him as a young boy, having some very weird experiences with his mother, who was very psychologically abusive. And they lived alone by themselves, and weird things happened. And Olivia Hussey is amazing. She's shrill and terrifying, also being warm and beautiful, and very sexy as well, which is a disturbing element as well, because he sort of is aroused by his mother, not necessarily attracted to her. I think it's kind of innocent on his part. I think he's a young boy, and she makes that out to be some perversion directed specifically at her, and I think he just has accidents. I don't think they're actually supposed to imply anything more than that, but obviously it looks like he's having inappropriate thoughts about his mother, and there's just all these disturbing elements to the film. He comes across very sympathetic and very much the victim. She gets a new boyfriend. He's horrible. He's jealous. He kills them. It's pretty simple. And he relives all of that while telling Fran. And then the first woman that when he's running the hotel by himself, when he was attracted to a woman, the mother would come out and kill them. and we see that. We see him dressed as Mother, speaking in her voice, killing people. And it gets up to the point where the incidents from Psycho happened, which we all know, so they don't go through all that. They don't refilm any of that. And then we get to the conclusion of him dealing with his wife and whether he can continue on and have a family. And he decides to, they escape, the house burns down. Fortunately, it's a matte painting. They didn't burn down the real house. And they actually filmed in the Psycho house in Florida, I think, at the Universal Studios there. And he leaves. And then at the very, very end, though, of course, we see the doors of the basement close, and you hear, the baby crying, and then, Mother's voice, and just it alludes that, there will be another Norman. It will continue. So it's a great film. I love it. It feels a little TV movie, but still fairly cinematic, and it's just a great film. It shows us Norman's life growing up, and I don't think it's a prequel that I think works. Not a lot of prequels, work and are good, but this one I think works. Some people hate it. I really like it. And what else would we have gotten? Just another slasher where he gets out again and goes on the same thing. We really only had room for one of those. We could have got a nicer one, but that's what we got. And this is a totally different story, totally different film. And if you haven't seen it, you should see it. It kind of gets forgotten, because it's the last one, and it was a TV movie sort of thing, because it was made for HBO and it was a cable movie, but it was it was HBO, so it's quality, and that's how they did it back in the day, but they didn't have the respect they do now. But I've gone more than 5 minutes. I'm waffling on, but yeah. So I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of Psycho 4 if you've seen it, if you haven't seen it, and R.I.P. Olivia Hussey.